Hello. Today we're going to talk about pronunciation. Go back to Merriam-Webster. Remember, I told you maybe this is not the best choice to check pronunciations. Accidentally, Emily Brewster is talking about the certain words that are mispronounced in English, like the word mischievous, right? You might have heard another pronunciation, and it's debatable whether this is a mispronunciation. Very debatable. All right. So I wanted to take you to the help section of Merriam-Webster, and here you will find frequently asked questions about audio pronunciations, well, the words and dictionaries, but also you have the pronunciation key and quick reference, and also full guide, right, with a PDF, but that won't have recordings naturally. So if you go to the quick reference, you will find recordings for all the sounds. Yes, and you will have their symbols. I think I may have told you that the symbols are used here are not the same as the ones you're going to learn here in Argentina. So possibly you want to stay away from American dictionaries, right? American English dictionaries. Still, if you wish, this is where you need to go, right? Also, accidentally, because I was reminded of the video, I wanted to show you something I had forgotten to mention on the first video on dictionaries, and that is that Merriam-Webster offers a series of videos, right, on different topics, language-related topics. Sometimes they're related to pronunciation. For example, you have this one, none is singular or plural, is they a singular, they as singular a better choice. The difference between sneaked and snuck. Did you know there's one? Well, there are many videos, as you can see here at the bottom. There are other links, and they're great, right? As I told you in the video about other links, they overlap a little bit with the Comma Queen from the New Yorker, right? Okay, we're going to go to then Oxford Learners Dictionaries, because this is where you will find your resources, right? And under resources, we're here in Resources Home, and here's where you find the pronunciation guides, right? And you will find, once again, the symbols. This time there won't be any recordings, right? But you will get used to the symbols you will learn here in Argentina, particularly this one and this one, but a lot of these ones, right? And you also have vowels and what not. And you have these symbols that we're going to see today, okay? So we're going to start off here. So when you look up a word in the dictionary, I want you to look up a word, check the definition, maybe check the nearby words. In this case, no word formation for tilde. And you will find the pronunciation is enclosed or set off by forward slashes. American English likes to do this in backward slashes. What do you know? All right. And once you learn the symbols, and this is something I said you're going to do with your phonology teacher, you will be able to pronounce these words, but you will be able to listen to them.
Tilde.
Tilde.
Right, in British and American English. But there's something I wanted to check, and that is the symbols. Sorry, the what we call the diacritics. I wrote it here, diacritic, and you can see already here that the symbol for die is different from the one that we use. So that's why I ask you to stay away from here. But here you have a list of all the diacritics, right? The acute accent, the grave, circumflex, tilde, macron or macron. These will not be using, but diaeresis, umlaut, and cedille. Okay, we won't see all of them actually. We're going to see the tilde, right? And I want to simply to show it to you because it is the same as one we use in Spanish, but it's not the same. I mean, it is here, but we use it in English pronunciation with sense number 2, which is to make the sounds more nasalized, right? Now, there are other symbols. The circumflex, we don't use it, it is French. Here you find diaeresis, and this is what I wanted you to check actually, not the symbol, not that the primary stress, right, which is this vertical mark here that tells you where the stress lands, right? Diaeresis. and then we go to Macron or Macron, right? This is straight mark placed over a vowel. The umlaut, right, which is used in German for für, right? But we're going to use another one that's very much the same, only it's called different. The acute accent that we use in French, but this is a word fiancé that we use in English too, fiancé. Grave, we don't use it for peur in French. And we stop here, right? Let me go back. We'll go back to that word later. I wanted to show you that all of these words form a group, right? And I actually wanted you to focus also on the vertical mark, which is the one for stress. But I wanted to say something else, in that this group of diacritics is very similar to the concept that we saw earlier in another video, which was about superordinates and co-hyponyms. Remember, in that case, we talked about trees, right? And within trees, we have the cedar tree and the plane tree and the ficus tree and the cherry tree and whatnot. And that category is open-ended, whereas in this case, for diacritics, this category is closed, right? There's a limit to members. And sometimes we do not refer to diacritics as being the superordinate, but rather as the holonym, and all the members of this category which are have a different function, a different role, are not referred, well, they might be called co-hyponyms, but also we use another term, which is meronym, right? So these would be co-meronyms. All right, let's go back to this, because I got a bit sidetracked here, and I want to go back to pronunciation. And remember, I told you that I wanted you to check, simply to check how a word is pronounced. And today I want to focus on two things. One is I want to focus on words which are mispronounced because you misplace the stress. So let's go to this one. Where would you put the stress for this word? I know where most people do, but it is figurative. Cumulative. Please check the pronunciation as I move forward, right? Cumulative. Subsequent. Reputable. Equitable. Innovate. Quarantine, Arbitrary. Hierarchy. But Halloween, right? British English goes for Halloween, whereas American English goes for Halloween, right? I think that was the last one. Oh no, negligible. Negligible. Okay, let's stop here. Now, all of the previous words tend to be misstressed, at least in Argentina, or native speakers of Spanish tend to mispronounce those words, which are Latinate words of Latin origin, with a Spanish stress. Please note that the stress for those words was initial, and that I hope you check stress from now onwards, rather than choose the stress that feels comfortable. It is true that you may have heard these words pronounced differently by native speakers, but initially the stress for those words was initial. And now a list of words that are mispronounced not because of the stress, or not just because of the stress. Look at this one. Annihilate. Very difficult word. The next one is always mispronounced. Apartheid. Apartheid. There isn't a D in the pronunciation, there's a D in the spelling, not in the pronunciation. Apartheid. Authoritative. But Americans? Authoritative. Authoritative. And here's two more words that are similar. Qualitative and qualitative go Americans. Administrative and administrative go Americans. Canine. These are words that I hear mispronounced a lot, right? So canine, from canine tooth, canine tooth. Disparate. Disparate group of individuals. Disparate, meaning different, right? Lieutenant. Lieutenant is the British pronunciation. Lieutenant is American. Caribbean is British. Caribbean, mostly American, though British people use it too. Necessarily, necessarily, or necessarily. Plait. Yes, plait. Your hair in plaits. Trenza. Plaid. Quadriche, right? A cuadros. Variation, please. Variation. British English, right? Variation, American English, because they shift the stress. Suffice. This is a very formal expression when we say suffice it to say that this is too demanding. Zeal. Yes, great energy or enthusiasm. Zeal. But zealot, a person is a zealot, a fanatic. And the adjective, zealous, a zealous reformer. And the adverb, zealously. Okay, I think I'm trying to make a point, and that is look up the pronunciation in the dictionary. When you look up a word to check the meaning, also check the pronunciation. One more thing is that these are supposedly standard pronunciations, or the pronunciations people expect us to use, right? But that will vary, right? I really don't know what Oxford dictionaries will say about this. I'm missing an E, sorry. I realized later. Mischievous, but I'm sure you have heard mischievous, right? Which is what the video was about, right? And for this, you will find actually a usage guide, right? That will explain to you something about the pronunciation. And here you get the maker mischievous, right? That is pronunciation that has caught on lately in the US, and that aggravates many people. Now, my point is dictionaries offer standard pronunciations, and it's a good thing to check them out. Finally, I would like to do with you something that I forgot to do when I shared with you the first video on dictionaries, which is at the end of the day, it is a good thing to do this. Just go back. Oh, check the misspelling and go back. I'm going to do this. It is annoying, I know, but going back at the end of the day and reviewing everything you did is a great exercise that will help you remember all the things you did, right? So at the end of the day, just go back, back, and back, and back, right? Okay. I hope you enjoyed this. Bye.